There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And welcome to the show, everybody. We are all going to get together now, everybody that's listening right now, and we'll listen to it later. And we're going to put out positive energy that Brachelle's power comes back and she's able to be here because she loves Cari Rickabaugh. And I got to tell you, this is Cari's 50th show she met at the beginning of the year. She said, I'm going to be on 50 different shows, and this is number 50. And congratulations, Cari. And I'm going to treat you kind of like my co-host because you are very special. Would you like to introduce the gentleman that you brought to us?
I would love to, Kevin. Oh, I love you and I appreciate you so much. Thank you for that acknowledgement. This is my friend and coach, Mr. Dave Orton. This is the man who helped change my life, who is really responsible for me being here and being who I am today. And fun fact, we found out like maybe a year into working together that we're actually like fourth cousins once removed. So, here's my friend, my coach, and my family.
Dave Orton, welcome to the show. How are you? It is just remarkable that you are here. How does it feel to coach someone like Cari, who is doing such good in the world, and you're partially responsible for all that?
Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for having me here with you. And thank you, Cari, for the invitation. Working with Cari has been one of the most instructive relationships I have had in my coaching experience. Because when we started working, she wouldn't tell me what was actually going on.
I wouldn't tell me.
She agreed to work with me, to meet with me, because we have a mutual friend that she respects deeply that said, you need to meet with Dave at least 4 times. And we got on the phone on the first appointment, and she said something to the tune of, I'm not going to tell you what's wrong. I don't want to be here, and you can't make me. And I'm like, fantastic. Let's play with this. And I just shared with her what, the challenges that I had in my life with addiction, with depression, and that I had no idea what she had been through, because we can't know what anybody else has been through. Kevin, you've been through things. I know this because you're breathing and you're here and this is what you're up to. And I have no idea what you've been through.
Well, I had a bad country music song experience. Does that count?
Absolutely. It's not what happens to us. It's the story that we make it mean. So it's so funny to me that trauma can be as great as, what Cari has gone through, where your parent treats you in a way that's utterly despicable. And it can be as small as somebody giving you a look that in your mind is the most cruel thing that's ever happened to you. So all of us come through this thing with scars, if you will, or with experience marks, shall we say. And working with Cari really helped me to discover things that I had no idea I was going to discover in my coaching career.
It is just amazing that because like I said, I had a bad country music song experience. My dad died and my dog died and my wife left and I lost my house and declared bankruptcy and all of those happy things. But they made me who I am today. And without those experiences, I would not be where I am. And so I'm eternally grateful for them. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, my mother-in-law was adopted and she spent 85 years, her entire life, thinking about how she was adopted and that nobody loved her. And her mother in 1930 was a 16-year-old girl that in those days they went to a home for unwed mothers. And she ended up with her adopted parents, but she never got over it. And what a waste of life that she went through. And one of the things that I'm passionate about is helping people realize it doesn't have to be that way, that you can make a change and you can decide what these things mean and you can make them an uplifting thing. Am I close? Is that right?
Smack on. It's the fact of the matter is that the past happened, right? Your past, your sad country song past. I didn't hear the truck dying. Did you own a pickup truck at any point that died on you there, Kevin?
Well, no, but I hit the trestle of a train trestle with a U-Haul truck. Does that count?
We're going to give that a pass on a yes on that. That counts. That was exciting.
Oh. I have to tell that story real quick because I hit it was an old train trestle, and so it was lower than standard, and so it was 8 feet tall and the truck was 9 feet tall, and I went under it, going about 35 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. And but the funny part was they called the ambulance and they called the fire department and all that, and they were all standing around and everybody was looking up at the train trestle to see if it had any damage to it. And then they hear this whoop. It was a train was coming. And these guys just stood there and looked at each other and said, I wonder what's going to happen when that train goes over the trestle. Fortunately, I didn't damage it enough to hurt that. But when you look at life like that, rather than, oh, what a horrible thing and stuff, it changes how you view your entire existence, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. If we're focused on the cause of why I am, what in the past made me who I am, what traumas shaped my life. To your point, your mother, her being adopted was proof to her through her life that she was unworthy of love. That's not your words. Those are my words, but my experience of what you shared. And the possibility that we have as humans is to allow the past to be in the past and to create a goal or a possibility that lights us up, that really pulls us forward, calls us forth into our own greatness that is innate in every human being. From my perspective, we're all the essence of love walking around in meat suits that we call bodies. Yep. And sometimes we forget that. And sometimes we remember that.
We forget that a ton. And real quick story. In 2003, when I was doing Positive Talk Radio, one of the gals that we had on was a 4-time cancer survivor. And I asked her, you've faced death 4 different times. What's your secret to life? And she said, without missing a beat, she said, well, if you have one foot in the past and the other foot in the future, you're peeing on the present. Don't pee on the present.
I love amazing. It. Oh my goodness. That is fantastic.
And it was so real and so true that today, at the end of the day, today is all we've got. And even tomorrow will be today, tomorrow, or something like that. Anyway, you know what I mean? And we have that ability to decide how to assign meaning to whatever happens to us in life. And it would be really cool to assign a good meaning. And so I got to ask you, meaning a good meaning, English is my second language. Did I tell you that? But how did your coaching career start? Because when Cari was here the first time, she said she owed it all to this guy who lives in Idaho, and his name is Dave. And I know that makes your heart warm. But how did all of this? How did you become a coach? How did you decide that this is how you were going to give back to humanity?
Beautiful question, Kevin, and thank you for that wonderful acknowledgement. It began with being someone who could listen. When I was in junior high school and high school, I had many experiences where people would come up to me and I would just listen to them and talk with them, but I was mostly listening. And they started sharing things that were their troubles, their trials, their deep stuff that they didn't really want to share with anyone. They shared with me. And I didn't ask them to. I didn't want them to, actually, at that point in my life. It's like, please don't tell me this stuff. Go talk to your church leader or your counselor or somebody who can actually assist you. I'm just kind of freaking out here, but I love you. and I love you. It really began in earnest when I took a course called the Landmark Forum. And have you done that, Kevin? I see a look of recognition there. I
love the Landmark Forum. As a matter of fact, I've done it. Well, continue your story because I want to add this part to it. If you don't bring it up, but go ahead. You went to the Landmark Forum.
Yeah, I went to the Landmark Forum and I was so moved. I realized in the Landmark Forum the depth of the lies that I had told myself about the way that the world was and the way that I was, the way that I treated my wife, like she was unintentionally, I was treating her like she was like a social status thing to me and not this woman that I love with all of her foibles and all of her perfections and everything. I also discovered in that I could reframe the meaning that I gave to the experiences of my life, and that I was pretty good at helping other people reframe their experiences that they had in their lives. So I entered the Landmark Forum. After the Landmark Forum, I entered the Landmark Leadership Body.
Sure.
And while I was doing that, see, we're not as blessed as you are there in Seattle. We don't have Landmark here in Idaho. So I had to drive down to Salt Lake every week to go participate with that, which is about a 5-hour journey each way. And on one of those trips down, I had this sudden nudge to call my cousin, who was a very successful businessman, and offer to coach him for fun and for free. And he was like, absolutely, let's do that. And I spoke with him for about a year, just pro bono, and helped him grow his business. And then he moved on to a coach that was specifically for his particular financial industry. And he's done fantastic. And I was hooked. I was like, this is gratifying to be able to help people in what's really important to them. I don't have a dog in the fight, but boy, my experience, and at this point, my sad song was deep depression, near-death experience. In fact, when I was 14, I got hurt in a farming accident, died, came back to life with some CPR, and then you mentioned you had been born in Idaho Falls. I stayed in the Idaho Falls hospital there for 2 weeks while my body knit back together. So it's a small world after all, Kevin,
It really is. You have no idea. But continue, please.
Yeah. So after that first experience, I started offering coaching services to people. And after I completed as a Landmark leader, I continued to expand. And, it was so funny because it was during that period of time that I entered the deepest depression of my life. and so here I am with an active coaching practice, Kevin, with clients who were paying me thousands of dollars, $1,000 a month. At that point was my fee. And they continued to pay me through this time when my life was darker than their life. And it's like, can you help me? I'm like, well, I don't know. Let's find out. Maybe. I can't get myself out of bed some days, but I think I can help you. So what this really helped me learn was, in addition to having magnificent compassion for people who are dealing with mental health issues that I'd never had, the depth of that I'd never had until that experience, was that we don't have to be perfect to make a difference with the people around us. I can be deeply flawed.
Well, we all are deeply flawed at one point or another. You know, so it's, I gotta interrupt you because number one, we got to take a break, and then we've also got last hour we had a gal that does a joyful dance, and she's got people that do that. And when we come back from this break, Samuel, who is in Kenya and he feeds 370 kids on every Saturday. And I'm going to challenge him to get all 370 kids to dance in the slums of Kenya and to dance with joy after he feeds them. And then to listen to this show, because this is going to be as equally as impactful as that one. I need to take just a real quick break, and we will be right back. Please, everybody, stay with us. I know what I'm going to do. I need to play this.
Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. In a dark room, a single candle was lit. That tiny flame chased away the shadows, filling the space with hope. Your courage, your kindness, and your light may seem small at times, but it can change someone's entire world. Never underestimate the power you already carry inside. Even the smallest flame can ignite a fire that transforms lives. You are listening to Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope come alive.
And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin. Yes, Brichelle's supposed to be here, but sadly she had a storm in Salt Lake where she lives, and her power's out. So I'm hopeful that if we all get together and we all say your power's coming back on, that she'll get her power back, and then she can be in the show, because she is standing there beside herself because she really loves Cari and really wanted to be on this show. And Dave Orton is with us. And Dave, I got to tell you, when I went to the Landmark Forum, and the facilitator, who I forget the gentleman's name, but he was just so good. And you know how it goes. We have Saturday and Sunday, and then part of Monday and stuff. No, it's Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. And we spent 2 days, Friday and Saturday, talking about all the things that had gone on in our lives and all the things that had gone wrong and all of this stuff. And some remarkable things happened. A guy called his mother, who was in Germany, and hadn't talked to her in 10 years. And when he came back on Saturday, he did this on Friday, came back on Saturday, he said, she's flying out here. She'll be here tomorrow. And because of the impact that the forum had. But on Sunday afternoon, it was my favorite moment of one of the favorite moments of my life. He's talking to everybody, the facilitator, and he says, I got news for you. The stories that you keep telling yourselves, you made it all up. None of it's real. And everybody was like, oh, taken aback, because what do you mean it wasn't real? You made it all up because you made it whatever you chose to make it, and rather than what it really was. And then he followed that up with, and oh, by the way, your life is empty and meaningless. And you're smiling, Dave, because I know that you probably did that, and people stood up and said, what do you mean my life is empty and meaningless? How do you? Yeah, I have got a man of faith. I've got a great family in it. What do you mean? And then he said, no, you don't understand. Your life is empty until you choose what you're going to fill it up with. And it's meaningless until you and no one else assigns meaning to it. That was the most freeing moment of when you get past the shock of what empty and meaningless means, but then you look at what it really means. it's the most empowering, freeing statement. I even have done a short about being empty, your life being empty and meaningless, because it is such a big deal. Do you remember when you were facilitating saying that to people and the reaction that you got from it?
So I was never a forum leader. I was an introduction leader, but I certainly remember when I went through that, and when I discovered, I mean, like, the mind rejected it instantly. Empty and meaningless, and then all the stories came up and said, well, this is who I am, and this is really funny, Kevin, because when I was filling out the information, like the biography for this, for the show, that I had to fill out to be here, it's like, give us your bio. It's like, okay, what do I want to share? Because it's all empty and meaningless, and it's empty and meaningless, and it's empty and meaningless. I'll share this stuff. This seems appropriate. It's like my great grandparents came across the plains, and it's like, who cares? And at the same time, there's nothing wrong with assigning meaning. It is empty and meaningless that we assign meaning to everything. Cari and I, we have a shared relative who was killed by Native Americans in the 1850s. And, he murdered, out by himself, and got basically surrounded by a raiding party and shot multiple times and killed. And here we are, well over 100 years old, 150 years after that. And does that really matter for us? Well, what meaning do we assign for it? Well, every single one of his descendants, and there are a lot of us, by the way, that is aware of the story, because a lot of us aren't, has their own meaning that they've assigned. See, Cari has a different story about that historical thing that happened to our common ancestor. She has a different story about it than I do. And now you have this story about, you have this experience that we've told you that this happened. You have no reference for, even if we're telling the truth, but you have a story about it. Like, you have a presentation, a projection in your mind about this thing that I've just told you about, which is your creation. Yep. So to own our creations, to own the creation of meaning that we have in our lives, is possibly the most freeing distinction that I got from the Landmark Forum, and from the work that I've done with them since then. Yeah.
And Cari knows, I think, Cari, that Samuel came into the show last time, and he's here again. And to tell his story just real briefly, he has the Restoring Hope Center in Kenya. And on every Saturday, he feeds 370 children. And he wants to say, good morning, it's midnight there. And Dave, there are 20 to 25 people in a room watching this show as it's being done live, and from Kenya. And so you're now in a worldwide presentation. But he says, good morning, receive greetings from Siberia Restoring Hope Center, based in Siberia, Kenya. Brashal does such a better job than this. Slums in Nairobi, Kenya. Brother Kevin McDonald and guest David Orton and Madame Cari Rickabaugh. We are listening and watching you live for this favorite program, Positive Talk Radio Show. Thanks for hosting the inspirational guests. Thanks for highlighting our weekly feeding program where no child goes to bed hungry, and to the world. And we've got, as a matter of fact, Samuel, we're putting together a press release through the Brushwood Media Network that's going to go out to all the major news networks about the work you're doing and how we are helping you do that work. And then he has somebody else there. And greetings, host Kevin and guest Coach Dave and sister Cari. So you're a madame and a sister, I think. And we are listening and watching you live from Siberia Restoring Hope Center, based in Siberia slums, Nairobi, in Kenya, Africa. Thanks to our favorite program, Positive Talk. We are tuned in. And I just wanted to say thank you to those guys. And Cari, it's remarkable. I already see what you saw in Dave. He's a remarkable coach and a remarkable man. And you went to him and you said, I ain't telling you crap, dude. I'm saying nothing to you. How long did that last?
That was, I think, probably our 5th session, because it was after our first session, which lasted a few hours. I knew something was different about him compared to any other therapist or person I had spoken to before about my trauma, my issues, and I hadn't even told him anything. Yet he was able to help me and teach me some things about how to go in and start processing and addressing my trauma, my things that were keeping me stuck. And so then I was like, okay, well, I have to talk to him 4 times because that's what I promised Eric. And then on the 4th one, I was like, I want to keep working with you. Can we make some agreement? And so it was finally either the 5th or 6th session. I was like, okay, fine. I guess I'll tell you something about me. And we went from there. So.
Well, but wasn't it, and this is when you find the right coach, wasn't it really freeing for you when you were able to talk to him in confidence, knowing that it wasn't going to go anywhere and that he was going to listen with, and really listen to you?
Yeah. Well, and like Dave said, I want to circle back just a little bit to something he said at the very beginning. One of the things he did was he opened up about himself very early on and said, I have issues. I have shortcomings. I have addictions. I'm a real human being. Whereas anybody I had seen before, I felt like there was this hierarchy of they've got their all their stuff together and they don't deal with issues and problems. And here I am beneath them and am kind of like, please help me. Where Dave was like, I'm going through stuff as a human being at the same time. So he actually said to me, and I'll tell this, we kind of have this running joke of, he said to me from the get-go, when I said I'm not going to tell you anything. I have a lot of trauma. It's all you need to know. I'm not going to tell you anything else because I'm not investing in you because I don't want you to be scared off or give up on me. He said, there's nothing you can say that I haven't heard or haven't worked with anyone on. And then we kind of have this running joke because suddenly things would come out of my mouth and he was like, oh yeah, I've never talked to anybody who went through that before.
I was so wrong. So wrong.
And there's a few times where we were like, should we write a book? Because there were so many things we could write down. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I haven't dealt with that before either. And so it was a learning experience for him at the same time. But being able to just open myself up and tell somebody to trust in him, not knowing him, because somebody that I loved dearly loved him that much too, to say, you need to talk to him. I trust him with your issues. I trust you with him. It was everything. It was everything.
Well, and there are some coaches, and everybody's walking their own journey, but there are some who somehow believe that they can walk on water, and that their life is just peaches and cream, and they get it. And the reality is, the human existence is messy. And we all get to have part of that mess at one point or another, and stuff. So, and it was a gentleman by the name of Eric who suggested that you meet Dave?
Eric Peterson. Yes, sir.
And I imagine that you give him a good Christmas gift every year.
He gets the gift of me. So I give him my friendship. That's
which is not inconsequential, by the way. That's a really big deal. And but Dave, you're a real guy, but you have got a gift that a lot of people don't have, and that is that you recognize that you have one mouth and two ears for a reason, so that you can listen.
If I notice that if I am talking, if I'm in a coaching session and I am doing the majority of the talking, it's no longer a coaching session. It's a preaching session of some sort. Listen to what I have to say, take it to heart, and you will be fine. And I fall into that, Kevin. You'd think because I know better that I would always know better, but I forget.
Well, there are moments in time, where, and but I could just imagine when you're talking to Cari and saying, "Oh, Cari, don't worry about it. There's not a story that I haven't heard." And she starts telling you her story, and it's like, wow, I haven't heard that one before. Because there are so many. There are so many stories, and like I said, life is messy. And stuff, but congratulations that you found each other. That is so good, because you've done a lot of good for Cari, and she has become a remarkable human being.
She is that. She was always that. And
yes, she didn't recognize it though until you helped her.
That may be true.
Yeah.
The difference that she makes now. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cari.
No, it's okay. It's one thing that keeps going through my head as we're speaking is I didn't know I had a choice to be any different. I didn't know, because of my experiences that I had grown up, which was in a very controlling and submissive, and I walked out of my home at 20 on my own and had no idea that I had a choice to make choices for myself. Like, I thought that I was a victim. And so what Dave did was, and what I hope we can do, especially with this episode, is help those who feel so stuck and there is no choice for them, that there absolutely is. There absolutely is. I used to hate it. And I think I've said this on the show before, Kevin. I used to hate it when I would hear people who would go through these transformations of some sort say, well, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because I would say, you didn't deal with this. You must have had money or a family that supported you, or, a great community or whatever. I was like, no, you're better than me in some way, shape, or form. That's why you could do it. My gosh, and I say it now, if I can take the steps to get over everything that happened in my past, anybody can, and everybody can. And I fully, fully believe that. But it's a choice we get to make choices for ourselves, to think differently, to take away that meaning that we've put to certain experiences in our life. And it's an amazing, amazing thing. I don't even have words for it. I don't have words for my gratitude for Eric and Dave throughout my life. This is Dave and I meeting each other. This started at the time with Eric and I meeting each other 27 years ago and helping each other through some things back then. And then Eric and Dave met 20 or 12 years later. And then Eric introduced Dave and I like another 12 or 13 years after that. And, it was, everything in life happens for a reason. And the experiences I went through happened, and the experiences Dave went through happened, and that Eric went through happened, so that we could all get to this point where we could be helping each other. But we had to choose that as well. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and we need to take our halftime break, but it's by divine providence, and it was all set up to be the way it is. And that's because you have got so much that you can give other people who are where you were 20 years ago, or however long it was, and they don't realize they have hope, and you can help them. And Dave can help them realize that they can have the hope that they don't believe they're entitled to because of how they were raised. And I want to get both of your opinions on that when we come back. We're just going to be gone a minute and 10 seconds. Don't anybody go away. This is powerful. What's coming up is going to impact somebody's life, and it's going to change them forever. That's a great responsibility, and we are going to do it and do it really well. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday.
And welcome back to Positive Talk. I'm hopeful. We got a half hour left. Rochelle, you better get here if the power company restores power. Dave Orton is our guest. Cari Rickabaugh is our guest. And I want to take this opportunity to allow the two of you to explain what we were just talking about, Cari, about the choices that you have the opportunity to make that will affect your life going forward. And nobody gets to make it but you. But you have to, sometimes it's helpful to have somebody to give you permission to make those changes because you don't believe it's possible for you for whatever reason. Am I close?
Absolutely. You're spot on. Spot on.
And so go ahead.
Go ahead. We rock, paper, scissors. Okay. We only know things from our experiences and from our vision of our experiences. So if we always live in that, we're always going to be what we've always been. We're always going to make the same choices. We're always going to continue down the same sort of path. For me, it was the victim role, and I was a victim of everything because I had been a victim of so much trauma and so much abuse and so much, let's just say, extreme unfairness for 4 decades brought on by my family. And some of it, which was so traumatic that I didn't even remember until after Dave and I had been working together for probably 1.5 years, because it was so traumatizing. It was buried so deep. And what I found out through working with him was I get to choose regardless of my past, because my past is my past. I can't go back and change my past. What happened, happened. Period. Like, there is no if, and, or but. That's one of the only things that is absolutely perfect in this world, is that the past is in the past and you can't go back. Period. And so you get to choose right now and right now and right now what you're going to do with the rest of your life. And you can do and be anything you want. Anything. And so I went from somebody who all that happened to me was negative stuff, right? This was my story. All that happened to me was negative things. All that happened to me was difficulties that I had to go through. All that happened to me were things that caused me to suffer. And in believing that for 44 years, that's exactly what I attracted. And so it just proved me right. And as soon as I was able to make that shift, and it's not it's not an instant and suddenly you're different. It's a lot of shifts. It's a lot of instances. But as I was able to learn that I can make any choice for myself, that's what I started seeing. That's what the universe started saying. Yeah, we're going to prove that right. We're going to prove that right. And I went from this human being that Dave was a part of this community of coaches on Facebook, a Facebook group. And it was 2.5 years ago, Dave, that I wanted to be a part of this group. Now, when Dave and I started coaching, Dave would speak a lot of the coaching lingo and a lot of this out. And I was just I just want to work on my trauma. I don't care about I don't care about people. I don't care about this stuff. Just work on my trauma. And then suddenly there came a time where for about 2 or 3 months, I'm like, I want to be a part of this community. I want to be a part of a community of people who are aware of what's going on and who are making choices for themselves. And I tried to click a button to join the group, and for 3 months I couldn't do it. And I finally called Dave and I just yelled at him, and I'm like, why haven't you brought me into your world? Don't you want me to be a part of it? Like, I thought we were friends. And he's like, didn't you join the Facebook group like 6 months ago? I'm like, no, I didn't join. I can't, no. And he's like, oh, okay. And that was the first time I was really aware of something that I believed about him wasn't necessarily true, because he had no idea. He couldn't read my mind. He had no clue, right? And I was like, oh, so I get to make a choice if I'm going to judge him for something he wasn't even aware of. And that was a shift for me. Then he said to me, well, let me bring you into this group and I'll write a little post and be like, hey, welcome my friend Cari. And then he's in the middle of typing it. And he said, I'm not going to bring you in unless you make an agreement. And that agreement is that when I post this, when I push post, and people are going to say, hey, welcome, you have to reach out to every single person who comments on this and connect with them. And I was like, I couldn't even push a button to be in a group of like 9,000 people. I'm not doing it. And he's like, well, I'm not bringing you in. And I was like, but I want to be there. And he goes, then you have to reach out to people. And I negotiated with him. I brought him down to 2, right? 2 people. And I ended up reaching out to everybody who commented. But that was another shift for me of I get to make a choice. I can either do what he's requesting of me if I want that result, or I can choose not to and not be a part of this group. And again, it opened up the door a little bit. It opened up my eyes a little bit more of there's choices. I get to make choice for myself. I'm not a victim of what does or doesn't happen. And that along with the coaching has changed my life. I mean, here I am on my 50th speaking experience. I spoke on a stage in January in front of 250 people. I'm a published author now as part of an anthology that went international bestseller in 4 different countries. I am now a podcast host. There's all these things from my life that I never thought was possible. All I had to do was choose. And the universe is like, yeah, we're going to show you that that's who you are now. Absolutely.
And Dave, when she was going through this, and I know you were very supportive, but you also, and what I love about the role of a coach is that it's not a friend or a family member. It's somebody who doesn't want to hurt your feelings. You tell the truth. And sometimes the truth can be difficult and it can be hard to deal with initially. But that's the role of a good coach. Is that kind of how you view it?
It is how I view it. And there's to tie in what you said earlier, Kevin, about having 2 ears and 1 mouth. This was something else I learned in my landmark trainings, to speak to people in language that they can understand and accept. There's different ways to say things, and there's different ways to invite people to do things. So when I had actually forgotten that I ever did that with Cari, like I'm hearing this story, like, this is like, did I do that? Wow, that was bold.
Yeah.
When I'm listening to someone, and when we are listening to someone fully and completely, when we're listening from heart, we're not listening for a goal, it becomes possible to invite people to make moves that are going to forward the action of their life, that is going to benefit them in the long run, even if it looks difficult right now. And to do it in a way that they say that they feel a strong pull to say yes to that possibility. And they're free to say no, right? And with Cari, it has blown my expectations out of the water, which, I have expectations, and they're made up, just like the stories and everything else. They're not connected to anything in reality. But I had these expectations that Cari would, she'd do really well, and then she'd be good, and then she'd, reach her plateau, and that's her plateau. She's going to do fantastic at that plateau. And I got to tell you, Cari, like, put rockets on and jumped and made a plateau up here, and then she did another one, and she wasn't done yet. She came up again. She is making such an enormous difference in the world with her healing. And like all of us, she's still got stuff going on. She's dealing with difficulty right now that is stuff that I've never had to deal with. And she's here and she is sharing her story. She's sharing the possibility of healing and creating a meaning of life that empowers you instead of something that disempowers you. And she is so good at it because she's been to hell, Kevin. She shook hands with the devil, not by choice. And she's come through that, and she can see the divine in herself, in you, in me, and those that she sees everywhere around her. And that's what she connects with. She doesn't look for the devil in people because, boy, for a long time, that's what she could see. And she can see so much more clearly now. And it's a beautiful thing to observe, to be a part of. And I don't own that. Like, yes, I got to play a part, but this is all Cari. She did the thing. She became the Cari Rickabaugh. And I'm just happy to be here and to be a part of that.
Well, and the really cool thing, Cari, is that you, and I hope you know this, that you're having an impact on a particular young lady that I dearly love, and she's gone through her own difficulty times, and you have touched her in a very special way. And that is, and I wish she could be here to verify that, but she would. Then we're going to have you back, and we'll talk about it some more. But it's amazing where you are and where Dave helped you get to, so that you can now create, because you're creating a ripple effect. You know what you're doing. You know what you've had a hand in doing, is that. And I'm talking about Rochelle is changing so much, and she's becoming such a bigger presence for herself and for the world. She's going to be able to do some really remarkable things. It's really not fair. She's 26 years old. That's not fair. Dang it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But because of you, and you're giving back to her and the ripple effect of what she's going to be able to do because of the forum that I've given her, is going to help a tremendous amount of people. And thank you for that. Thank you for being her friend.
It's so my pleasure. She's so incredibly amazing. And thank you for your acknowledgement for that. It is my honor to know her and I don't want to say guide her, because I don't do anything. I let her be her, and I give her that space to be her. And, she has told me some of the things that she has been through, which have been so difficult. Again, I've been through horrible things, but she's been through things that I haven't experienced, just like Dave and I's dynamic. And yet, we can still be support for each other. We can still be those safe spaces for each other. And it's an honor every time I get to do that. So thank you. Thank you.
Well, Dave, the interesting thing is that, and you haven't met Rochelle, have you?
I have not yet.
You will. And because you got to come back, because the shows like this are so empowering. But when I first met her, she puts up a great front. Cari can relate to this. She puts up a great front. She's a very pretty young lady, very dynamic, and got a great personality. But we were talking for like 7 months, and then suddenly it dawned on me. I said, "You don't think you're enough." And guess what, kids? Oh, wait. Come back. Talk amongst yourselves just real quickly.
Cari, did you hear the story about the person who was asked who their favorite vampire was? Kevin turns this.
Say again.
I'm sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has
Oh.
not been set up yet.
So
She's teasing me. That's just not fair. That was Brichelle, and she's having troubles with the technology and to making it all work. But Dave, I got to tell you, being an older guy looking at a young girl who's got, it appears today she's got it all going on. She's smart, she's intelligent, she's good looking, and she didn't think she was enough. I said, how could that possibly be? I mean, I know that I've got problems and I know that I'm sometimes not enough. But how could that be? She's a beautiful girl and she's got a great personality and it just dawned on me that we all, regardless, have got issues that are given to us by other people, and we've got to work through them. Is that true?
she's only human after all.
I know, that's so weird.
Well, there is this axiom, and by axiom I mean something that is a supposition that cannot be proven one way or the other that I really appreciate. And this supposition is that everyone is always doing the best they can given the circumstances in which they find themselves and the resources that they notice and have available in that moment. And so not enoughness seems to be a theme among just about every human. And either she is appearing, she has this appearance of she's got it all going on. Her face and hair and makeup are perfect. She's put together. She's very articulate. Oh.
We're going to hope. Brichelle, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh.
Hello. Hi, Cari. Hi, Dave.
Hello.
Darling.
I'm going to shut up now, and Brichelle, you talk to Cari and Dave.
Yes, well, first of all, I am beating all of the odds. I was just making sure that the show was going on and heard you guys talking about a call, and I gained my service back right in that moment, and so that was a big, huge blessing. I don't have Wi-Fi, otherwise I'd be in person on camera with you guys, but Cari, as always, I'm sending you my blessings, and I hope that you guys have had the funnest time talking with Kevin. But we have to have you back so that I can ask more questions.
Missing you so much, sweetheart.
Same here. I will see you soon.
Okay.
I know everything will work out and happen as it's supposed to, which is hard to do sometimes, and that's okay.
Well, and by the way, say hello to Dave and ask him a question or two. You're so good at asking questions.
Well, hello, Dave. Thank you for loving my Cari as I love her so much. My main question for you was what, if you haven't already gone over this, what for you has been one of the biggest breakthrough moments of your time through someone else's experience that shifted how you saw things in your own life?
Thank you for that beautiful question. And I'm so glad you're here. I checked when Kevin said you're in Salt Lake, and I live in Boise, and we have the same windstorm going on here that I think you guys had down there. And I saw that 5,000 people are without power in Salt Lake City right now. But to answer your question, there's this. I didn't know that I was leveling up as a coach when I was coaching with Cari. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because once Cari discovered what was really going on and we started dealing with that, it was as though the divine just started pushing people toward me unexpectedly that needed very similar help and had a very similar path and pattern to what Cari had gone through. And so it wasn't just Cari. It was like Cari, and then all of a sudden there's 10 other people who have almost identical situations that have, just come to light in their own mind, and they have to deal with it. And because of the experience I had with Cari, and because of of her allowing me to, level up and grow and discover and be surprised that I didn't know it all with her, I was able to serve a lot of people, and I'm really grateful for that. So I think that was probably the biggest moment there.
Well, and
that's beautiful.
but I want to tell you that, and Cari created an opportunity for other people to come to you because you now had the tools to be able to help them because of your work with Cari. And I think that's divine.
I totally agree. Totally agree. And I am not a therapist, right? I use therapists. I really appreciate people in the mental health industry. And there are times when that's not what's needed. And I'm not the one that gets to say, this is when it's needed and that's when it's not. I'm the one that gets to listen to what the universe is nudging me to do or say or listen to. And that's my job. I think that's our job as humans, that, if we're listening to inspiration, then we can be that divine presence for, looks like we lost her. We can be that divine presence for each other.
Are you still there, Michelle?
Yes, I'm still here, Dave. And listening to you, I have to ask, is that what had such a big impact on you being able to be the person with somebody as you're helping them, but also willing to learn and accept that you yourself are human too? Because, there's got to be a point where you can't work with somebody who doesn't understand your humanness. And I remember when Cari first talked about you, is you were just another person. You were her friend. You weren't this, I'm bigger, better, badder, smarter than you, here to help you. I'm going to get right with you at your level and be with you where you sit, but I'm also going to build you up at the same time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And that's exactly right. We are only human after all. And no one is any better than anybody else. No one is any worse than anybody else. And I'm talking about, and this is hard to hear, but it's like the people that are falling, that are waking up in their own vomit from a drug-induced coma overnight. They are as valuable and as worthy of love and as human, as divine and as not divine as I am, or Kevin, or Cari, and all the way up to, the great saints of our time, whoever they may be for you. They are no better. They are humans. They are, divine beings having a human experience, however that looks for them. And the beauty of it is that because we have a different perspective, we can look at humans, we can look at each other and see the greatness that, whether it's lying dormant or whether it's being expressed, or whether it's hidden behind walls of shame and guilt and pain. Yeah. And when we acknowledge that from heart, not like as a formula or as a strategy, but as an actual presence of love and admiration and respect, possibility explodes onto the scene, and people can choose newly how to look at their life. And that's a beautiful thing.
Exactly. It is. I'm going through it right now, and damn, is it powerful.
Oh, and you see, Dave, now you've met Rochelle. Isn't she a special young lady?
She really is. She really is. Wonderful to meet you. Wonderful to connect with you.
And Cari, as always, I love you so much. We've both gone through some things that we've communicated about. And let me tell you one thing, ladies and gentlemen, if you need somebody to send you a voice message that will strengthen and replace and fulfill what is missing without you even knowing you needed it, Cari is your girl. But I love communicating with you that way. No one's ever done that. And I just want you to know hearing your voice is so special. And sometimes I still go and I listen to those as a reminder that I'm not alone in my struggles. So I love you lots.
Love you, Michelle. Love you always. Thank you for that. And know that being able to do that helps me as well. So thank you for being open to allowing me to leave those voice notes.
Of course. And thank you, Dave, for, again, just being able to start with one person and create that ripple and domino effect, as I hope that we're doing here right now on the show, that someone's listening and knows that they're worth more and they deserve it. Okay, I'll stop talking now. Go ahead, Kevin.
No, dear, I want you to go ahead and take us out.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody who's joined in, listened to the show. If you didn't in its entirety, please do. We have been talking with Dave Orton and Cari Rickabaugh, and of course, the one and only Kevin McDonald. We'll see you again tomorrow for some fabulous shows. And until then, take care.
And you're not going to lose power ever again because you should have.
Amen.
and Brichelle, I just got to tell you, you should have seen the look on Carrie's face when I said that you were without power and you might not be here. She was so sad because she loves you so much.
Very true.
Well, I made it, and I fight the power of the universe every day. So don't you worry.
You are incredible, Brichelle. Don't ever think less of yourself than that.
Okay, you too.
All
of us, everybody.
I won't allow her to think herself is not as good as. She's just a phenomenal human being, as you are, Cari, as you are, Dave. And I want to thank you all for being here. This has been a very impactful program. And of course, we've got overtime, so they're going to yell at me again, but that's just too bad. Brichelle, thank you so much. Stay on the line, would you please?
I will.
Okay. Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got.